Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we deep dive into the stuff you're interested in. And today we're focusing on something for all you Vintage Car Chronicles fans out there. We've gotten a ton of requests to take a closer look at the history of Audi. And let me tell you, even just glancing through all this material, it's clear that there's a lot more to Audi than meets the eye.
Oh, absolutely. Audi's history is a real roller coaster ride, full of twists and turns, mergers, and some really bold engineering decisions. And we can't forget about the name itself, Audi. It's got a pretty fascinating story behind it.
Okay, yeah, let's start there, the name, because I know a lot of people are curious about that. It's not exactly a common name, and it doesn't immediately scream cars.
Right. It all goes back to the founder, August Horch, brilliant engineer, started his first car company back in 1899, A. Horch and C.
Make sense? Name the company after yourself, pretty standard.
Yeah, but things got a little messy. He ended up leaving the company because of disagreements with his business partners.
Ah, so I'm guessing when he started the second company, he wanted to use his own name again.
Exactly. But his former partners weren't too thrilled about that. They took him to court over the trademark and he lost.
Oh, wow. So that's a problem, a car maker without a car brand.
Talk about a roadblock. So they had to come up with something new, and that's where the story takes a fun turn.
Okay, I'm intrigued. How did Audi come out of all this?
Well, the solution came during a meeting to brainstorm a new name. And get this, Franz Fischencher, one of Horch's business associates, had his young son in the room.
Okay, a kid in a business meeting. That doesn't sound very productive.
Aha, right. But here's the kicker. The kid was studying Latin.
Latin. That's not exactly your typical car talk.
Nope. But as they were struggling to come up with a name, the boy pipes up and suggests Audi. It's the Latin translation of Horch, meaning listen.
What? No way. Talk about being in the right place at the right time. That kid's a legend.
Huh.
So Audi wasn't some carefully crafted marketing strategy. It was just a brilliant solution to a legal problem.
Exactly. And it ended up fitting perfectly, don't you think? A well-engineered car deserves to be heard, right?
Absolutely. And of course, we can't talk about Audi without mentioning those iconic four rings. It's got to be one of the most recognizable logos in the world.
For sure. And those rings actually represent a huge part of Audi's history. Each one stands for one of the four companies that merged to form Auto Union in 1932.
Wait, hold on. So Audi wasn't always just Audi?
Nope. It was the result of Audi, DKW, Horch, and Wanderer coming together, each bringing their own strengths to the table.
Wow, I had no idea. Suddenly, those four rings have a whole new meaning. It's like a history lesson right there on the grill.
Right. And there's even a legal battle tied to those rings. Believe it or not, they were sued by the International Olympic Committee.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Over the rings, what happened?
Yeah, the IOC claimed the four rings too closely resembled the Olympic rings, and they took Audi to court. Audi actually lost that lawsuit.
Really? So they had to change the logo.
Well, no. The logo was already so well known and loved that they just kept using it. Can you imagine trying to rebrand Audi today? It'd be impossible.
Talk about a branding win. So we've got this merger of four companies. What were they known for individually?
Well, each brought something different to the table, like a automotive potluck. DKW, for example. They were famous for motorcycles and small, affordable cars. They were really into two-stroke engines.
Oh, yeah, two-stroke engines. I remember this. Weren't they pretty common back in the day?
They were, especially for smaller vehicles. And DKW was a pioneer in two-stroke technology, even held world records for motorcycle speed.
That's impressive. So that two-stroke expertise must have played a big role in those early Audis.
It did, especially under the leadership of Jürgen Rasmussen. He was a Danish engineer who acquired a majority stake in Audi in the 1920s. Rasmussen was a big believer in the potential of two-stroke engines, especially for making cars affordable for the everyday person.
So at that point, Audi wasn't exactly the luxury brand we know today.
Not quite. They were more focused on practicality and affordability, which made sense at the time, but it would be a while before they shifted to that higher-end market.
Yeah, that makes sense. So how did they eventually transition from those two-stroke engines to the four-stroke engines we see in most cars today?
Well, Volkswagen enters the picture. In the 1960s, they acquired Audi, and that was a real turning point. Volkswagen had a lot of experience with four-stroke engines, and they saw the potential to revitalize Audi by moving away from the two strokes.
So Volkswagen really steered Audi towards the path they're on today.
Absolutely. And one of the first cars to show that shift was the DKW F102. It was originally supposed to have a two-stroke engine, but Volkswagen stepped in and said, nope, we're putting a four-stroke in this thing.
Wow, that's a pretty big change. It must have been a bit controversial at the time.
Oh, I'm sure it ruffled some feathers. But it was a bold move that paid off. The car was so well received that it was eventually just sold as Audi, marking a new era for the brand.
That's fascinating. It's like they were shedding their old skin and embracing a new identity, one that would eventually lead them to global dominance.
Exactly. And this new era brought with it a wave of innovation, including the development of their legendary quattro four-wheel drive system.
Oh yeah, the Quattro. That's one of the things Audi's most famous for.
Yeah.
Tell me, what was the automotive scene like back then? What was so groundbreaking about the Quattro? What made it stand out?
Well, back then, if you said four-wheel drive, people pictured off-road vehicles, trucks, not exactly known for speed or handling.
Yeah, so nobody was really putting four-wheel drive into performance cars.
Nope. It was seen as too heavy, too complex, not necessary for a car that was meant to be driven on pavement.
So Audi was really going against the grain with the Quattro.
Big time. It was a gamble, no doubt about it. But they had a vision. They believed four-wheel drive could be a game changer, even for performance cars.
And they were right. The Quattro took the world by storm.
It did. They launched it in 1980, and it was an instant sensation. It was a turbocharged coupe that could handle anything you threw at it, snow, gravel, you name it.
People must have been blown away seeing a car handle like that, especially back then.
Oh, absolutely. The Quattro dominated rally racing, proving that four-wheel drive wasn't just about off-road capability, it was about performance, grip, control in any conditions.
And that success didn't just stay on the rally track, did it?
Nope. The Quattro's impact was huge. It basically forced other car makers to take notice and start developing their own all-wheel drive systems.
So Audi really paved the way for the all-wheel drive performance cars we see everywhere today.
They did. And that's just one example of how Audi's innovations have shaped the whole industry.
It's amazing to think how one car can have such a ripple effect.
For sure. But the Quattro wasn't just about technology. It was a statement. It showed that Audi wasn't afraid to take risks, to defy expectations.
It really solidified their image as a brand that was willing to push boundaries.
Exactly. And that spirit of innovation continued to drive them forward, leading to other groundbreaking technologies. But before we jump into those, I think we should talk about another important part of Audi's journey, their move towards the luxury market.
Oh yeah, that's a big part of their story. How they went from affordable cars to competing with the big names like Mercedes and BMW.
It was a gradual shift, but a deliberate one. They started introducing models that offered more luxury, more performance, more sophisticated design.
So when did that shift really start to happen? What were some of the key models that signaled this new direction for Audi?
Well, one early indicator was the Audi 100 in the late 60s. It was a spacious and stylish sedan that aimed to compete with cars like the Mercedes E-Class.
So they were setting their sights high, going after the heavy hitters in the luxury market.
They were, and it was a bold move, but they knew they had the engineering and the design talent to pull it off.
And it looks like they were right, because today, Audi is right up there with the top luxury brands in the world.
Absolutely. That decision to move up market was a turning point. It opened up a whole new segment of buyers who were looking for something different, something that offered both performance and luxury, but with a more progressive, innovative edge.
That's a great way to put it. They found their own niche in the luxury market, a brand that appeals to drivers who want cutting-edge tech and bold design.
Exactly. And speaking of bold design, let's not forget about the Audi 80, another model that played a big part in Audi's rise.
Ah, the Audi 80. Now that's a car that really made waves. It won a bunch of awards and set a new standard for compact executive cars.
It was a game changer for them, both in terms of sales and critical acclaim. People loved its handling, its fuel efficiency, its overall refinement. It was a car that appealed to both driving enthusiasts and everyday commuters.
Yeah, I remember seeing those Audi 80s on the road. They had a certain elegance, a sophistication that really stood out.
They did, and it wasn't just about looks. The Audi 80 was packed with innovative features, like its aerodynamic design, which helped it achieve amazing fuel economy.
So they were already thinking about efficiency back then.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Fuel efficiency has always been a priority for Audi. They understand that performance and responsibility can go hand in hand.
And that's become even more important today with the focus on sustainability and the environment.
For sure. And Audi has been right there leading the way, developing tech that improves fuel efficiency without sacrificing performance.
But before we go down that road, there's one more thing I want to touch on about the Audi 80. Its impact went beyond just Audi itself, right? Right.
Right. The Audi 80s platform was actually used to create another incredibly successful car, the Volkswagen Passat.
No way. You're kidding?
Nope. Volkswagen saw how brilliant the Audi 80s platform was and adapted it for their own use, creating the first-generation Passat in 1973.
So, in a way, the Audi 80 was the secret weapon behind the Passat's success.
You could say that. It's a testament to the quality of the Audi 80s design. It was so good that Volkswagen decided to use it for their own flagship model.
That's amazing. It's a hidden chapter in automotive history that shows how collaboration can lead to amazing results.
It does, and it shows how influential Audi has been, not just as a brand, but within the larger Volkswagen group. But speaking of innovation, there's another model that really shows Audi's forward-thinking approach, the Audi 50.
The Audi 50.
Yeah.
Tell me more, what was so special about it?
Well, it was a small hatchback that debuted in 1974. It was designed to be sporty and affordable, targeting a younger audience.
So kind of like a precursor to the hot hatches we see everywhere today.
Exactly. It was ahead of its time, combining style, performance, and fuel efficiency in a way that was pretty unique back then.
And I'm sensing a pattern here. Did the Audi 50 also have a ripple effect on the industry like the 80?
It did. Just like the 80s platform became the Passat, the Audi 50's design and engineering laid the groundwork for another iconic Volkswagen, the Polo.
You're kidding. So Audi basically gave birth to two of Volkswagen's most successful models.
They did. It shows their ability to create cars that were not only innovative, but also incredibly adaptable.
That's wild. It's like they were planting seeds of innovation that would eventually blossom into some of the most popular cars in the world.
Exactly. And it's just another example of how Audi's influence has gone way beyond just their own brand. They've shaped the entire automotive world.
It's incredible to think about. But let's refocus on Audi's own journey specifically, their commitment to pushing the limits of technology. Where do we even begin? Audi's got a long list of innovations.
You're not wrong. It's hard to know where to start, but I think a good place is their pioneering work in safety and durability. Back in the 70s, when most cars were still using traditional steel bodies that would rust, Audi did something radical.
Ooh, what did they do? Did they invent some new material?
They did something simpler but super effective. They embraced fully galvanized bodies for their cars.
Galvanized bodies. What's so special about that?
It's a process that coats steel with zinc, which acts as a barrier against rust. Simple concept, but it made a huge difference in how long the cars lasted. Audi's cars were suddenly much more resistant to corrosion, which meant they could stay on the road longer and hold their value better.
So they were playing the long game building cars that could stand the test of time.
Exactly. It showed their commitment to quality and their understanding that a car is an investment, not something you just toss out after a few years.
A philosophy that's more important than ever these days, with the focus on sustainability and reducing waste.
Right, and Audi has continued to lead the way in this area, developing technologies that improve performance, efficiency, and the lifespan of their cars.
And speaking of extending lifespans, I have to ask about their aluminum space frame technology, ASF. That was a huge deal, wasn't it?
It was. ASF was a game changer. It let them build cars that were way lighter than their steel-bodied competitors, and that had a huge impact on performance, handling, and fuel economy.
I remember when the first Audi A8 came out with the ASF, it was like nothing else. A big, luxurious sedan that felt incredibly light and agile.
It was amazing. The ASF was strong and rigid, yet so much lighter than a comparable steel frame. Better performance, better fuel economy, enhanced safety, all thanks to ASF.
So it wasn't just about making cars lighter, it was about improving the whole driving experience.
Exactly. It also showed that Audi was serious about pushing boundaries in engineering. They were willing to invest in new materials and technologies to get an edge.
And they didn't just use ASF in one model, did they?
Nope. The ASF went into the Audi TT, the sporty R8, and even some of their high-performance sedans. It became a signature part of their engineering, a symbol of lightweight construction and performance.
It's like they were rewriting the rules of how cars could be built lighter, stronger, more efficient, without sacrificing style or performance.
Exactly. And that brings us to another area where Audi's always been pushing limits engine technology.
Oh yeah, Audi engines are legendary. They've always been at the forefront of developing both gasoline and diesel engines that blend power, efficiency, and refinement.
Their engines really showcase their engineering expertise. They've managed to squeeze incredible power out of relatively small engines, all while getting impressive fuel economy.
I remember when those TDI diesel engines first came out, they were a revelation. Diesel performance that could rival gasoline engines, but with much better fuel economy.
The TDI engines were game changers for Audi. They got rid of that old image of diesel cars being slow and smoky.
And they didn't stop there. They kept refining their diesel tech, pushing the limits.
And it wasn't just diesel. They were also pioneers in gasoline engine tech, like their FSI system, fuel stratified injection.
Ah, yes, FSI, that was a big deal for them. What was so special about FSI?
It was a revolutionary fuel injection system that allowed them to get more power and better fuel efficiency out of their gasoline engines, the best of both worlds.
And it wasn't just a marketing gimmick. They actually delivered
Yeah.
on those promises, right?
Oh, they did. The FSI engines were a hit. Critics loved them. Drivers loved them.
It's amazing how they've consistently found that balance, creating engines that are exhilarating to drive, but also responsible.
It's all about that Vorsprung, durch Technik mindset. They're always trying to push boundaries, and their engines are a perfect example of that.
And speaking of pushing boundaries, we can't forget about their recent move into the world of electric vehicles. They've really embraced the future of mobility, haven't they?
They have. Audi is investing heavily in EV tech, and their e-tron models are turning heads. They're showing they're serious about sustainability without sacrificing performance.
The e-tron is supposed to be an amazing car combining all the luxury and performance you expect from an Audi, but with zero emissions.
It's a game changer for them. It shows they're not afraid to evolve and adapt to the changing demands of the market.
It's exciting to see them taking on this new era of car technology. It shows they're not afraid to evolve and adapt to what drivers want.
Absolutely, and I think it's a sign of great things to come from Audi. They're clearly committed to shaping the future of mobility. I can't wait to see what they come up with next.
Me neither. But before we get ahead of ourselves, I want to take a step back and appreciate how far Audi has come. From those early days with August Horch to their position as a global leader, it's been an incredible journey.
It's been a wild ride, that's for sure. Full of innovation, perseverance, and that constant pursuit of excellence. And it's a journey that's far from over.
And that's what makes them so exciting to follow. But now, let's dive into a chapter of Audi's history that's a bit more controversial. The Audi 5000 unintended acceleration saga.
Yes, the Audi 5000, a car that got caught up in a web of allegations and misinformation.
This was huge back in the 80s, right? It really hurt Audi's reputation, especially in the US.
It did. The Audi 5000, which was known as the Audi 100 in Europe, was a really popular car, a stylish and spacious sedan that people loved. But then these reports started coming out about sudden, unintended acceleration incidents. Drivers claimed their cars would suddenly surge forward even when they were braking.
So people were saying their cars were taking off on their own. That's terrifying.
It was, and tragically, some of these incidents led to accidents and even deaths. The media picked up the story, and it quickly became a national controversy.
I remember those news reports. It was a really big deal. People were genuinely scared to drive Audi 5000s. They thought there was something wrong with the cars.
And that fear was amplified by a 60 Minutes report that aired in 1986. The report interviewed people who claimed to have experienced unintended acceleration. And they even showed a demonstration of an Audi 5000 seemingly malfunctioning when the brake pedal was pressed.
Wait a minute, they actually showed a car supposedly accelerating on its own on national television.
They did, and it was incredibly damaging to Audi's reputation. The report basically confirmed people's fears that the car was dangerous.
But there was more to that story, right? Didn't it turn out that the 60 Minutes demonstration was faked?
You're right. It was later revealed that the demonstration had been rigged. They'd made modifications to the car to make it look like unintended acceleration.
They faked it. Seriously, that's unbelievable.
It was a huge scandal, and it led to a lawsuit against 60 Minutes. But the damage to Audi had already been done.
That's awful. It
Yeah.
shows how powerful the media can be and how quickly misinformation can spread, even if it's not true.
It's a cautionary tale for sure, but it also shows how resilient Audi is. They were able to weather that storm and eventually rebuild their reputation.
So how did they do it? How did they convince people that the Audi 5000 was safe to drive?
Well, it wasn't easy. It took years of effort and a multi-pronged approach. First, they addressed the safety concerns head-on. They did a series of recalls, making modifications to address any potential mechanical issues that could have contributed to the unintended acceleration.
So they were taking concrete steps to ensure the cars were safe.
Absolutely. They also increased warranty protection to show customers they stood behind their product and were committed to making things right.
That makes sense. They had to rebuild trust, and actions speak louder than words.
Exactly. And they also launched a huge public relations campaign to counter the bad press and educate the public about the truth behind those allegations.
So they were fighting back against the misinformation.
They were, and it was a tough battle, but eventually, Through transparency and a focus on safety, they regained the trust of their customers and rebuilt their reputation.
That's an incredible story of resilience. It shows their determination to overcome obstacles.
It does, and it reminds us that even the most successful brands can face challenges, but it's how they respond that really defines them.
Well said. Now let's move on to some of the models that have defined Audi's modern era. We talked about the Quattro, but they've had so many other notable cars.
Where do you want to start?
How about the Audi A4? It's been a core part of their lineup for decades and has been one of their best-selling models.
The A4 is a perfect example of Audi's ability to blend style and practicality. It's a compact executive sedan that's known for its handling, its interior, and its overall refinement.
It's a car that appeals to a wide range of buyers, from young professionals to families.
Exactly. And it's been a consistent winner for Audi, helping them solidify their spot as a top premium car brand.
And then there's the Audi A6, a step up in size and luxury from the A4, but still with that classic Audi blend of performance and refinement.
The A6 is a fantastic car, spacious, comfortable, and loaded with tech. It's perfect for long drives and turning heads on the road.
It definitely turns heads. And speaking of head turners, we can't forget the A8, their flagship sedan. It's been a symbol of luxury and innovation for over 2 decades.
The A8 is in a league of its own. It's designed to compete with the best of the best, and it does with style, sophistication, and incredible technology.
I remember when the first A8 came out with that aluminum space frame, it was revolutionary. A big luxury sedan that felt light and nimble.
The A8 has always been a showcase for Audi's most advanced tech, from its engines and transmissions to its infotainment and driver assistance features.
It's like they're constantly pushing the limits of what's possible in a car.
And it's incredibly comfortable and luxurious, too, the perfect mix of performance and pampering.
So we've got the A4, the A6, and the A8, all incredibly successful sedans that have really helped to define Audi's image as a premium brand.
But Audi's success isn't limited to just sedans. They've also made a huge splash in the world of SUVs.
Oh yeah, their SUVs are super popular. They've managed to capture that same Audi magic in a package that's more versatile and family-friendly.
Exactly. Their Q range of SUVs has been a massive hit worldwide. They blend style, performance, and practicality in a way that's hard to beat.
The Q5 is a great example. It's a compact SUV that's perfect for families or anyone who wants a car that can handle city driving and weekend adventures.
It's one of their best-selling models, and for good reason. It's a well-rounded car that checks all the boxes.
And then you've got the Q7, a larger SUV that offers even more space and luxury.
The Q7 is perfect for families who need lots of room or for those who just want to travel in style and comfort.
It's definitely a head turner. And speaking of head turners, there's the Q8, their flagship SUV. It goes head-to-head with the BMW X6 and the Mercedes GLE Coupe.
The Q8 is stunning, sleek, coupe-like design that manages to be both sporty and sophisticated. It's loaded with tech and offers a really luxurious driving experience.
It definitely makes a statement. It shows how Audi can create SUVs that are not only practical, but also really stylish and desirable.
Absolutely. And let's not forget about their performance SUVs, the SKU and RS models. Those take performance to a whole other level.
Yeah, those are beasts. They're like the love child of an SUV and a sports car.
They're a blast to drive, incredible acceleration, amazing handling, and a sound that'll give you goosebumps.
Audi has built a really diverse and successful SUV lineup. There's something for everyone, from practical family cars to high-performance machines.
It really speaks to their versatility as a brand, their ability to adapt to the changing needs of the market.
Now let's talk about Audi's marketing. They've created some really iconic ad campaigns over the years that have helped to solidify their image as a top-tier car brand.
Their marketing has been brilliant. They've managed to capture a sense of sophistication, innovation, and performance that really resonates with people.
And of course, we have to start with their legendary slogan, Vorsprung, durch, Technik. Those 3 words have become synonymous with Audi, capturing their commitment to technology and excellence.
It's a brilliant slogan, simple, memorable, and it perfectly sums up what Audi is all about.
It's been used in so many ads over the years, and it's even become part of pop culture.
It's a testament to the power of a well-crafted slogan and Audi's ability to create a brand that's both aspirational and relatable.
But their marketing goes beyond just the slogan. They've made some truly memorable commercials over the years that really showcase their cars in a stylish and engaging way.
Their commercials are often visually stunning, with captivating storylines and a clever use of humor and emotion.
Remember that commercial for the Audi R8 where they recreated the ski jump scene from the James Bond film The Spy Who Loved Me? Brilliant.
That was a classic. It perfectly captured the essence of the R8, a powerful and elegant car that's designed to make a statement.
And then there was the one for the Audi Quattro where they actually drove the car up a ski jump in Finland.
Bold move.
That commercial was genius. It took something that seemed impossible, driving a car up a ski jump, and made it real. It was a powerful way to demonstrate the Quattro's grip and performance, and it solidified its legendary status.
And Audi's also been smart about product placement. They've worked with big film franchises like the Marvel movies to get their cars featured in blockbusters.
It's a great strategy. It gets their cars in front of a global audience in a context that's both exciting and aspirational.
Think about Robert Downey Jr. driving that Audi R8 as Tony Stark in the Iron Man films. It instantly became a symbol of luxury, technology, and superhero coolness.
It was the perfect pairing. The R8, with its futuristic design and cutting-edge tech, was the perfect car for a character like Tony Stark. Audi's marketing has been so successful in making them a leader in luxury, performance, and innovation. They've built a powerful image that people connect with.
It all goes back to the cars themselves, sophisticated, stylish, and technologically advanced. They've created a brand that people both admire and aspire to own.
And that's because they really understand their audience and know how to communicate their brand values effectively.
Absolutely. Their marketing is a big part of what makes Audi such a compelling and successful brand.
Now let's delve a bit deeper into Audis.
Commitment to Vorsprung, durch Technik. It's evident in every part of their cars, from the engines and transmissions to the infotainment and safety features.
Yeah, and one area where they really shine is their quattro all-wheel drive system. It first appeared back in 1980 with that iconic Audi Quattro rally car, and it's become synonymous with Audi performance ever since.
It was a game changer back then, giving drivers a level of grip and stability that was unheard of, especially in tough conditions. You know, back then, most performance cars were rear-wheel drive.
So Audi was taking a big gamble, betting on tech that nobody else was really using.
Exactly, and it paid off big time. The Quattro dominated rally racing, proving that all-wheel drive wasn't just for off-roading.
It could actually make a car perform better on any surface in any weather.
Right. And they haven't just sat back and relaxed since then. They've been refining and improving the Quattro system for decades, putting it in everything from sporty sedans to luxury SUVs.
It seems like they're all in on all-wheel drive.
They are. They understand that it's not just about performance, it's also about safety and driver confidence, especially in places where the weather can be a bit unpredictable.
Speaking of performance, we got to talk about their engines.
Mm.
Audi's always been at the forefront of developing both gasoline and diesel engines that are powerful, efficient, and super refined.
Their engines are a testament to their engineering. They've consistently pushed the boundaries, finding ways to squeeze more power from smaller engines while also reducing emissions.
Yeah, like their FSI technology, fuel stratified injection. It was a big innovation that allowed them to make gasoline engines more powerful and more fuel efficient at the same time.
Exactly. FSI was a breakthrough. It helped them get more out of every drop of fuel, which was good for performance and the environment.
And then there were their TDI engines, the turbocharged direct injection diesels. Those really changed how people thought about diesel cars.
They did. TDI engines proved that diesel could be powerful and efficient, which a lot of people doubted back then. They helped make diesel cars more popular, especially in Europe.
And more recently, Audi's been leading the charge in electric vehicles with their e-tron lineup.
Their e-tron models show that they're committed to sustainability without compromising on the things that make Audi great performance and luxury. They're embracing the future of cars.
It seems like they're really thinking about the whole package, not just the powertrain.
They are. Audi's also been a leader in developing tech that enhances the driving experience, like their multimedia interface, or MMI. It revolutionized in-car entertainment and control systems.
The MMI system was so intuitive. It gave drivers a simple way to control everything from navigation to climate control. It was a big step forward in creating a more connected and personalized driving experience.
It was. And let's not forget about those LED daytime running lights. They've become a signature element of Audi's design.
Those LED lights are a great example of their attention to detail. They're not just stylish, they also make the cars safer by improving visibility.
Right. You can see Audi's commitment to Vorsprung, durch Technik in every detail of their cars, from the major components down to the smallest design elements.
They're always striving to create cars that are not only technologically advanced, but also beautiful and fun to drive.
Exactly. Their attention to detail and their pursuit of excellence have made them one of the most respected car makers in the world.
And they're still shaping the future of the car industry today.
Absolutely. Audi is a brand that's always evolving, always looking for ways to improve and innovate. They're never satisfied with the status quo, and that's what makes them so exciting.
Okay, so we've talked about their history, their tech, their marketing. But there's one more piece of the puzzle. Audi's involvement in motorsports.
Ah, yes. Audi's racing heritage is a huge part of their story. It's where they've really been able to test their limits, both in terms of engineering and driving skill.
And all those wins on the track haven't just been about trophies, right? They've also led to advancements in their road cars.
Absolutely. Their racing programs have been like a laboratory for innovation.
Yeah.
They can develop and test new technologies that ultimately make their road cars safer, more efficient, and more exciting to drive.
Let's start with their legendary time in rally racing, especially their dominance in the World Rally Championship in the 80s with the Audi Quattro.
The Quattro was a total game changer in rally racing. That revolutionary all-wheel drive system gave it an edge like nothing else, allowing it to handle tough terrains and weather like a champ.
It's hard to overstate how much of an impact the Quattro had on both rally racing and the car industry as a whole.
It really did change things. It proved that all-wheel drive could make a race car faster, and it helped establish Audi as a serious player in motorsports.
Sounds like a classic underdog story. Didn't a lot of people doubt the Quattro at first?
Oh, yeah. A lot of people thought it would be too heavy and too complex, but Audi proved them wrong, winning championships and races left and right.
The Quattro's legacy goes way beyond the rally track, doesn't it?
It does. It helped shape Audi's image as a brand that's all about performance and pushing boundaries, and it inspired a whole generation of car enthusiasts.
So rally racing wasn't the only area where they found success in motorsports, right?
Nope. They also competed in touring car racing in series like the DTM and the BTCC, and they did really well there too.
It seems like Audi has this knack for taking on new challenges and coming out on top.
They do. And their touring car programs showed that they could build cars that were not only fast, but also reliable. They were able to refine their engine and chassis technologies even further.
But if you're talking about Audi's most impressive achievement in motorsports, you have to mention their record at the 24 Hours of Le Mans, right?
Absolutely. Le Mans is one of the most prestigious endurance races in the world, and Audi has achieved incredible success there. It shows their engineering brilliance and their ability to push the limits of performance and efficiency.
So how did their Le Mans story begin?
Well, their first victory at Le Mans came in 2000 with the Audi R8, a car that would become a legend in its own right.
The R8 was a technological marvel, wasn't it?
It was. It had a lightweight carbon fiber chassis, a powerful V8 engine, and incredibly advanced aerodynamics.
And it dominated Le Mans, right?
It did. The R8 won Le Mans 5 times in a row, from 2000 to 2005, solidifying Audi's place as the kings of endurance racing.
And then they took things even further with the Audi R10 TDI. It made history in 2006 by becoming the first diesel-powered car to win Le Mans.
That was a huge moment. The R10 TDI proved that diesel engines could be not only efficient, but also insanely powerful. It was a big win for Audi and a milestone in the history of Le Mans.
The R10 TDI also won 3 times in a row, right? From 2006 to 2008.
That's right. And their winning streak continued with the Audi R15 TDI Plus in 2010 and the Audi R18 TDI in 2011.
Those wins showed just how good Audi was at developing diesel engine technology. They were able to create these innovative and efficient race cars that could handle the brutal demands of a 24-hour race.
Their success at Le Mans has been all about their brilliant engineering, their dedication to teamwork, and their never-give-up attitude.
It seems like everything they learned on the racetrack eventually finds its way into their road cars.
Exactly. The tech they've developed in racing, things like advanced aerodynamics, lightweight materials, innovative engines and transmissions, all that has trickled down to their production cars, making them better for everyone.
So Audi's racing heritage is a big part of who they are. It shows their dedication to performance, innovation, and constantly pushing the limits.
It's a legacy that continues to inspire them and drive them forward. As long as they keep competing at the highest levels of motorsports, we can expect to see even more groundbreaking innovations from them.
Innovations that could change the entire car industry.
Exactly. Now, we've been focusing on the positive side of Audi's story, but it's important to acknowledge that they've also faced some challenges in recent years, challenges that have really tested their resilience.
True. Like any successful company, they haven't been immune to setbacks and controversies. They've had to face some tough questions about their practices and their commitment to doing things the right way.
And one of the biggest challenges they've faced recently is the Volkswagen emissions scandal, also known as Dieselgate.
That was a huge story back in 2015, right?
Yeah.
It really shook up the entire car industry.
It did. It came out that Volkswagen, Audi's parent company, had installed software in millions of diesel cars that was designed to cheat on emissions tests.
So basically, they were making their cars seem cleaner than they actually were.
Yeah, and it led to investigations, massive fines, and a lot of damage to the reputation of both Volkswagen and Audi.
It must have been a really difficult time for Audi.
It was. They had to recall millions of vehicles and deal with a lot of negative press.
It was a big blow to their image, but it sounds like they took it seriously and made changes.
They did. They implemented a bunch of new procedures to make sure something like that wouldn't happen again, and they increased their investment in electric vehicle technology to show their commitment to sustainability.
It sounds like they used that crisis as a chance to reassess their priorities and make some positive changes.
They did. The emissions scandal was a major setback, but it also pushed them to become a more responsible and forward-thinking company.
And in addition to the emissions scandal, Audi has also had to adapt to the rapidly changing landscape of the car industry, with the rise of electric vehicles and new technologies like autonomous driving.
Yeah, the whole car industry is going through a period of massive transformation. Companies that want to survive have to be willing to evolve.
And it seems like Audi's been embracing those changes. They've been expanding their e-tron lineup and investing heavily in connected and autonomous driving technologies.
They have. They're making it clear that they're not just going to sit back and watch as the world changes around them. They want to be a part of shaping the future of mobility.
It's exciting to see them taking such a proactive approach.
Yeah.
So where does Audi go from here? They've obviously got a global presence. They're selling cars all over the world.
That's right. They've been very successful at tailoring their strategies to different markets, adapting their cars and marketing to appeal to the different cultures and preferences.
One of their biggest markets is China, right? Which has become the world's largest car market.
China is huge for them. They've invested a lot there, building factories and designing cars specifically for Chinese buyers.
And they've been successful in other emerging markets too, like India and Brazil, where Audi is seen as a symbol of luxury and success.
They've been very strategic about their global expansion. They've identified markets with a lot of potential and put in the work to build a strong presence there.
And that global success has helped them continue investing in innovation and strengthen their position as a leader in the car industry.
Exactly. Having a presence in so many different markets makes them a more resilient and adaptable company. They're not dependent on any one region for their success.
So now that we've looked back at Audi's history, let's look ahead. What are some of the key trends and challenges that will shape their future?
Well, the car industry is always changing. It's hard to predict exactly what will happen, but I think one of the biggest factors will continue to be the electrification of the industry. The shift to electric vehicles is only going to get stronger.
Driven by concerns about climate change and a growing demand for sustainable transportation.
Exactly. And Audi's already embracing that shift with their e-tron models. They've committed to investing billions in electric vehicle tech in the coming years.
It sounds like they're all in on electric.
They are. And that puts them in a good position to be a leader in this growing market.
Another big trend that will shape Audi's future is the rise of connected and autonomous driving technologies. Those technologies are going to change how we think about cars and transportation in a big way.
They are. And Audi's already working hard to develop those technologies. They want to create cars that are not only safer and more efficient, but also more enjoyable and convenient to use.
They've already got a bunch of advanced driver assistance systems in their cars, things like adaptive cruise control and lane keeping assist.
Right. Those systems are not just making driving safer and easier, they're also laying the foundation for fully self-driving cars.
And Audi's actively testing self-driving systems, right?
They are. They're working with companies like NVIDIA to develop the AI systems that will be crucial for autonomous driving.
It's clear that Audi is committed to staying ahead of the curve when it comes to these new technologies.
They are. But beyond these tech trends, Audi is also facing challenges related to how consumer preferences are changing. People are looking for more personalization and customization in their cars.
So they want cars that are unique and tailored to their specific needs.
Exactly. And Audi's responding by offering a wider range of customization options. They're letting buyers choose from all sorts of colors, trims, and accessories.
So you can basically build your dream Audi.
Pretty much. And they're also exploring new ways to personalize the driving experience itself, using AI and machine learning to create cars that can adapt to the driver's preferences and driving style.
Sounds pretty futuristic.
It is. But Audi's always been a brand that embraces the future. And they're not just focused on personalization, they're also facing tougher competition in the premium car market.
So there are more players in the game now.
Yeah, there are new companies coming in from China and other emerging markets that are challenging the established brands like Audi.
How are they responding to that?
They're focusing on their core strengths, innovation, design, and performance. And they're continuing to invest in new technologies and models that will keep them ahead of the competition.
It sounds like a challenging but exciting time to be in the car business.
It is. But Audi's history shows that they're capable of handling challenges and coming out stronger on the other side. They've got the vision, the determination, and the commitment to innovation to succeed in the long run.
I agree. Now, before we wrap up, I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier. Audi's impact beyond just cars. They've actually been involved in motorcycle manufacturing too, right?
That's right. Long before the sleek Audis we know today, there were the motorcycles of DKW, one of the 4 companies that merged to form Auto Union.
I didn't realize they had such a diverse background.
They do. Back in the 1920s and 30s, DKW was a world leader in motorcycle production, known for its innovative 2-stroke engines and its focus on affordable transportation.
It's amazing to think that the same company that made those early motorcycles would eventually go on to create some of the most technologically advanced cars in the world.
It really shows how adaptable and forward-thinking they are. They recognized that the market was changing, and they were able to make the transition from motorcycles to cars. That laid the foundation for the Audi brand we know today.
And that spirit of innovation has been with them ever since, hasn't it?
Absolutely. From those early DKW motorcycles to the game-changing Quattro and the futuristic e-tron models, Audi has consistently pushed boundaries. They've always embraced new technologies to create vehicles that are both exciting and practical.
It's a great story of evolution. And it's inspiring to see how Audi's been able to reinvent itself over the years while staying true to its core values of innovation and excellence.
I think that's what makes them such a fascinating brand. They're constantly looking ahead, anticipating what's next, and finding ways to make it even better.
It's been a real pleasure diving into the world of Audi. I've learned so much about their history, their philosophy, and their impact on the automotive industry.
Me too. It's a story that's full of twists and turns, but one thing's for sure, Audi's journey is far from over. I can't wait to see what they do next.
Wow, it's been a real journey learning all this about Audi. I always knew they were innovative, but I had no idea just how deep their roots go and the impact they've had on the car world. It's incredible.
They've left their mark, that's for sure. From those early DKWs with the 2-stroke engines to the Quattro, which totally changed the game, to the e-tron, it's like they're always pushing boundaries.
Yeah, it's not just the cars themselves. It's their whole philosophy, their mindset, Vorsprung, durch, Technik, progress through technology. It's more than a slogan. It's woven into everything they do.
Totally. It's what sets them apart. They're not just following trends, they're creating them. Always looking ahead, figuring out what's next, and then making it even better.
And that forward-thinking approach helped them get through some rough patches too, like that whole Audi 5000 controversy back in the 80s.
Oh yeah, that was a huge test for them. They could fold it under the pressure, but they didn't. Instead, they focused on safety, transparency, earning back the trust of their customers. They turned a crisis into a chance to become even stronger.
It's a lesson in resilience, for sure.
Yeah.
It shows that they're willing to learn from their mistakes and use those lessons to improve.
Exactly. That's what separates the good companies from the great ones. It's not just about achieving success, it's about how you handle the tough times.
And speaking of tough times, the Volkswagen emissions scandal a few years back must have been a huge blow to Audi, too.
It was a major setback, no question.
Yeah.
But it forced them to take a long, hard look at themselves and their practices. They admitted their role in the scandal, took responsibility, and made a commitment to a more sustainable future.
And they followed through on that commitment by investing heavily in electric vehicles. The e-tron is proof that they're serious about walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Exactly. They're not just following regulations. They're trying to actively shape the future of mobility by investing in tech that benefits both the environment and the driving experience.
It's exciting to see them navigating all these changes in the industry. The shift to electric vehicles, self-driving cars, connected cars, it's a lot to keep up with.
It is, but Audi seems to thrive on those challenges. They're not afraid to experiment and push the boundaries. It's like they're constantly asking, what's next? And then going out and making it happen.
That's what makes them so interesting to follow. They're not content with just being a car company. They want to be a driving force in the future of transportation.
I like that, a driving force.
Yes,
It's a fitting description. Well, as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of Audi, I think it's safe to say they've earned their place as one of the most innovative and influential car makers in history.
Absolutely. It's been a real eye-opener learning about their history, their ups and downs, and their unwavering commitment to Vorsprung durch Technik.
So, to all our listeners, especially you vintage car enthusiasts out there, we hope this deep dive has given you a new appreciation for the depth and complexity of Audi's story.
It's been a fascinating journey, and we want to thank you for joining us. And don't forget, a new episode of Vintage Car Chronicles comes out every day, so tune in tomorrow for another exciting look at the world of cars.
Until then, happy driving!